Hi, friend. Welcome back to Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust. I'm Lindsay Dollinger, travel advisor, agency owner of At Last I See the World Travel, high school Spanish teacher, year 18, and someone who firmly believes that successful travel businesses aren't built by accident, they're built by consistent actions over time. So, one question I get asked all the time: how do you do everything? And honestly, you probably get asked that question as well because I'm sure you're juggling a lot of things. However, honestly, the answer is I don't. There are plenty of things I don't do. There are plenty of things I say no to, and there are plenty of things that stay on my to-do list way longer than I'd like because I'm human. You're human, right? But there are a few handful. There are a handful of things that happen every single week, no matter what. Whether I'm traveling, teaching, hosting a group, or just trying to survive a crazy week, these things get done. Because I've learned something over the years. Successful businesses aren't built during your bursts of motivation. They're built through your non-negotiables. So today on the podcast, I'm sharing my weekly CEO checklist. These are the things that I prioritize every single week that actually move my business forward. So before we dive in, I do want to point out that some of this I do batch ahead of time if I am traveling, because I also don't believe that you have to work all the time when you are traveling. I think that you can have really good boundaries. You can prepare yourself and your business if you're really organized so that you don't have to be doing some of this stuff while you are traveling. And also before I dive in, little life update, because I feel like we haven't had a chatty chat in a while. I don't know. It's because I batched all my content before I went to Scotland. But we had an amazing Scotland trip with Colette Tours. 10 out of 10 recommend. Actually, 11 out of 10 recommend. Best tour director that I've ever had, Christina Barton. Shout out to you, Christina. You were amazing. The people were really awesome too, because sometimes with group tours, you get the negative Nancy or two, right? Or the people who just kind of annoy the shit out of you. There was only like one person who really annoyed the shit out of me. And I'll be honest, it was because she talked over the tour guide all the time. So if you are one of those people who do that, you are rude. End of story, period. There we go. All right. But it is mid-July here in Ohio. We have had a heat wave this week. We also today, the day that I'm recording this, have wildfire smoke coming down from Canada, making it really dangerous to breathe outside. So I just did a Canva presentation for a friend of mine who has a bookkeeping group. And I thought, well, then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to batch out some YouTube videos, some podcasts, while I'm kind of stuck inside, so to speak. But it's been a really great summer, friends. I really can't complain. And yeah, so I'm not going to keep rattling about myself, but I just wanted to say, one, a lot of you have been having some great combos with me in the DMs or sending me emails that you've been enjoying the content or just saying hi because you're new listeners. I really, really love that. So if that is you, please send me a DM. Let me know you're listening because otherwise I have no idea. And I'm recording these episodes every week into the abyss. And I know that there are thousands of you who listen to them. And yeah, it would just be really nice to connect with you. So send me a DM, say hi. Make sure you're on my email list too, because that's where I share lots of my personal life stories too. So, all right, let's dive into the CEO checklist because if you're like me, you don't like to waste time, essentially, right? Because we are CEOs and we got a lot of stuff to do, and I don't want to be doing this all the day if I don't have to. One thing that I am doing this summer that I've kind of restarted that I was doing over the winter, and then when my dad fell, it just kind of, rocked our world. If you've been around, he fell on a Carnival cruise ship April 1st and broke his hip and his wrist. And him and I had to be airlifted from Mexico to Miami, Florida for a week for him to have emergency surgery. And then my sister and I moved in with him for 2 months to take care of him. So anyway, before that, I had been reading for pleasure in the evenings. And I just really started doing that. I read about a book a day now. I've been doing that in the evenings, and I'm really loving it. I'm really loving the taking a little bit of a breaky break. Although the back of my mind is telling me like, Lindsay, this is not your time to break because you're a teacher and this is your month that you are home. And why are you not, getting all these new travel agents started and doing all these things? And I'm like, I'm still booking a lot of travel. Don't get me wrong. However, it's nice just to kind of slow down a little bit. I actually have, one of my bracelets. I'm not wearing it right now, ironically, but says slow down. And it's been one that I've put on a lot this summer to remind myself to do that. However, all that aside, let's talk CEO checklist because these non-negotiables, unless I'm traveling, I do them every week. But if I'm traveling, I try to batch it out ahead of time so that for like the first one here, I create content. Okay. Non-negotiable number one is I create content. Am I always doing content creation when I'm on vacation? No. But do I still post and share like updates about my trip and stuff? Yes. And I also have had it batched out. So stuff is scheduled and it's running while I'm on my trip. So number one non-negotiable is creating content. I don't wait until I'm feeling inspired. Although I do, if I am feeling inspired, I do try to make a post about that in that moment, because I also, the ones that usually do the best for me is the content where I am feeling inspired. But if I only created content when inspiration struck, I'd probably post like once a week or something. And we know that's not the consistency that I'm after. And it's probably not the consistency that you were after either. Because consistency, along with content, along with connections, are the 3 C's that I have always talked about in my business. I'm kind of bringing it back, talking about it even more, because those 3 things, I find that when I'm doing them is when I actually see results. So every week I'm creating content that does one of 4 things. And I try, no, I'm not going to say when I try. Back when this was not what's the right word? Didn't come as naturally, I guess, to me. I actually would plan this out in a Trello board and I would color code these so that I could make sure that every week had a good mix of all of the colors. But these 4 things: my content is educational, it entertains, it builds trust, and or it sells. I want to remind you that not every post has to go viral, or might even go viral, or maybe you will never have a viral post. You don't have to have that to be successful. Not every reel has to get thousands of views, but people can't hire someone they never see. Visibility matters. It matters so much in this business. You have to be top of mind. You have to be reminding people that they can book with you, because people book with familiar people. Okay, negotiable, non-negotiable number 2, follow up. This one alone makes people a lot of money, seriously. Most travel advisors don't have a lead problem. Okay, if you do, that's something completely separate. Most of us have a follow-up problem because people get busy. Your clients get busy, you get busy, vacations get pushed aside, life happens. That doesn't mean that they're not interested. So every single week, follow-up Friday. If this needs to be your pattern, follow-up Friday. Who needs to get another email? Who needs a quick text? Who has opened my proposal? Who has not responded? Who inquired but disappeared? Who said they'd talk to their spouse? Following up isn't being pushy, it's being professional. If you can automate any of this stuff, I know in some of our CRMs you can automate this, or at least you can automate so you get an email task reminder saying, have you followed up with this? Automate it and get it into your email so that at least it pops up as a reminder, or set a reminder on your phone. That's what I did back in the day before I automated my email. I set a reminder on my phone, follow up with McKenna in a week. And then it would pop up as a reminder, and I don't check it off until I've actually done it. So every time I look at my phone, it is there and it's reminding me that I need to do that thing. Whatever you need to do to remember to follow up with people, you got to get it in place, right? It's not anyone else's responsibility. Following up isn't pushy, it's professional. So let's be doing it, friend. Number 3 thing that I do that's a non-negotiable is I check my pipeline. So I know some people don't really like the word pipeline, but it's a good visual. Every CEO should know where their business stands. So every week I ask, how many inquiries have come in? How many consultations were there? How many quotes? How many bookings out of those? What's pending? What's at risk? What needs attention? If you don't know where your sales are, you can't improve them. Bottom line. So the data doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to do a big spreadsheet if you don't want. If you can or want to, that's great. But be looking. Okay, if you don't have any quotes coming through or any inquiries coming through, then we get to work on our visibility and attracting different clients, right? But if maybe when we're looking, people are coming in, but then they're not actually converting into bookings, then we get to think about our process and what we're sharing with people, and maybe wording we're using, or maybe we're not following up with people, right? So keeping in mind your pipeline and what it's looking like, and making sure that there's always, and I also think of it too, instead of a pipeline, sometimes it's called a funnel. A funnel is shaped like, I'm going to say like a triangle, but if you're watching this on YouTube, it's shaped like a funnel, right? The people at the bottom are the ones that actually do end up booking the trip. the ones that are coming in at the top, like it's a lot bigger number that's coming in at the top than that's actually getting converted, right? So if you think of the shape of the funnel, you need a lot more people up at the top to get the results that you want at the bottom. So we got to be getting those people from somewhere, whether it's networking connections, whether it's vendor events, whether it's referrals, whether it's your social media, a podcast, where are you getting these people at the top so that we can get them into our funnel? Number 4, non-negotiable. I nurture my past clients. The easiest sale is often someone who's already traveled with you. So every week I'm asking, who recently returned? Have I automated their post-trip follow-up? Who has a birthday coming up? Who traveled this time last year that I can check in with? Who might be ready to plan again? Who has made comments about travel on Facebook? Who has commented on my Facebook things? Sometimes it's an email to people, depending on the client. Sometimes it's a comment on a Facebook post. Sometimes it's a quick text. Relationships create repeat business. So stay in touch with people. And it doesn't always have to be like, are you ready to book? Are you ready to book? I love, for this reason, connecting with my clients on Facebook because I can see what's going on in their lives. I have a client who books pretty expensive river cruises with me, and their adult son was diagnosed with cancer. Okay, if I weren't connected with them that way, I would never have known that. So I would never have known, okay, this is probably not the week to check in to see if they want to make a payment on their Alma Waterways cruise, right? But then I can send them, a thinking of you card, or send them a message, or I can even comment on the post that, like, I'm praying for you, or different things. So, keeping in mind that those little things to build relationships actually truly are working your business. Like, you can use that scroll time to your advantage if you be intentional about it. The 5th thing that's a non-negotiable for me is that I learned something. The travel industry changes constantly. You know this. Suppliers change. Their policies are all the time changing. Destinations change. Marketing changes. AI is changing all the time. So every week I intentionally learn something. And a lot of times it's way more than one thing, but that might be supplier webinars. That might be a destination training I sign up for. Reading industry news, like Travel Weekly sends some really great emails out. Reading gosh, it doesn't even have to be that. Sometimes it can be posts in different Facebook groups that I'm in. Listening to podcasts. I'm obviously a huge podcast listener, so there's other podcasts that I listen to in the travel industry, but also just generally in business podcasting as well, because I think one of the things that kind of sets me apart is I'm not just narrowed in on learning things in the travel industry. I listen to podcasts about AI, marketing, Instagram, and that a lot of times, honestly, they're not specifically for travel advisors, which I think is really great. I'm constantly also trying to improve a system. So I might get on a webinar, with Turn to hear the latest things. Like, I listen to their podcast every week. What are the latest updates in Turn? So that I know that I can use the system the best, and that I can also help my agents use it the best way possible as well. And that goes in really nicely with number 6, non-negotiable for me, is that I work on my systems. I didn't say I organize my Canva folders. While that is really, really great, that's not what I mean. I'm talking about making this business easier to run for me and to make it a better experience for my clients. So that could be automating emails, improving a workflow, or creating a workflow. Like, on my list this week is creating a workflow for Hawaii, because I've had a lot more Hawaii bookings than I ever have in the past. And I have the emails already in there, but now I need to create a workflow for them. And that's going to save me time. And it's going to make sure too that I don't forget to send some of these emails to my clients. Maybe I write a new template. Maybe I'm updating some things. Like, yesterday I started adding some different activities in my Turn library for Virgin Voyages cruises that I'm booking more. So I added an activity info block all about the essential package, right? Versus the premium package. Maybe I clean up my CRM a little bit, but every little improvement saves time, like, forever. Systems buy back your time. So remember that, to put in, maybe it's only an hour a week that you set aside for your systems. I don't want this to be the only thing that you're doing in your business, obviously, because I want you to be marketing. I want you to be visible. I want you to be serving clients, but working in your systems gets to be something that you're doing every week in some sort of way. Number 7 is I check my numbers. We already kind of mentioned numbers a little bit, but this is one that so many advisors avoid. But CEOs know their numbers. Every week, I look at the revenue, the pending commissions, the bookings, expenses, profits, upcoming payments, sales goals. It's nothing fancy, it's just awareness. But if you never look at your numbers, you can't intentionally grow them, and you can't fix the spots that um, are creating some friction for you or are not as good as you would like them to be. I especially look at this, for my own personal bookings and my own personal numbers, but I also look at it because I'm an agency owner. So I want to see what my agents are doing as well. And I also want to be sure then to reach out to my agents, maybe who haven't had bookings for a while, and check in, but then also talk to the ones who have had a lot. And I want to say, can I support you even more? You're doing a great job. Let's run together if you want to. The number 8 thing I do is I connect with people. I do this a lot with Facebook because, like I mentioned already, travel is still a relationship business, and Facebook's kind of my preferred social media platform. So every week I intentionally connect with clients, but also, through emails and different things, I connect with supplier BDMs, other advisors inside my agency, in Facebook groups, at networking events, sometimes on do different Zoom things. Relationships create opportunities that you can never automate. So find a way to make sure that you are connecting with people in some sort of way. And I'm going to even give you um, I was going to say homework, but it's not really homework. Like a bonus is that make sure you're also connecting with some new people in some sort of way. The 9th thing that I do is I sell. And that's one thing that people don't really love hearing, because sales, this is part of this job, right? We are salespeople, whether you like it or not. So every week I make offers. I invite people to book with me. I mention my services. I talk about planning fees. If planning fees are your thing or not your thing, totally fine. But I talk about the cost involved. I share group trips. I promote river cruises. I remind people to reach out to me that I would love to help you book your next vacation. Because remember, if no one knows you're accepting clients, you are the best kept secret. They're not going to become your clients. Selling isn't sleazy, it is serving. And we get to serve, because when we're serving, we're selling, and then we're making more money. And that's what this is about at the end of the day. And the number 10 thing that I do is I plan next week. It might be a Friday, sometimes it's a Sunday, but definitely by Sunday night, I ask myself, okay, what's the priority next week? What's getting out there? What needs attention? What content is going out? What appointments do I have? What deadlines are coming? Future Lindsay is always thankful when current Lindsay plans ahead. And you can be the same way, right? Future Lindsay, future blank is always thankful when current blank plans ahead. Always. So even 30 minutes makes a Monday feel completely different. If you know what you're doing as soon as you open your laptop to start the week, whole different energy than opening it up and just starting in your inbox, and then 3 hours later you remember that one thing that you really needed to get done, and now you're not going to have time to do it today, and blah blah blah, right? We've all been there, done that. No, we're not here for that. A bonus non-negotiable that I'm going to share with you is I protect my energy. This one isn't on a spreadsheet, but it's probably the most important. I don't try to be productive 24 hours a day. I travel, I read, I exercise, I spend time with my family, I watch Disney movies, I read raunchy adult novels, I recharge. Because a burned out business owner doesn't build a sustainable business. You're going to show up cranky, you're going to hate it, and you're probably going to want to quit. Rest isn't a reward. It is part of the strategy. So I want you to remember that when it all comes down to it. If you're like, man, I'm in Miami, Florida right now because my dad fell and I'm in a hospital. I don't have my laptop. I didn't have my laptop for a week. I also, fun fact, had COVID while also having GI issues from something that I ate in Mexico. It was literally a nightmare of a week for me. Do you think I did all these 10 things that week? No. Did I learn something that week? No. I went into sleep, or I was busy, trying to help my dad and advocate for him, because we all know that when you're in the hospital, you need an advocate. So you are going to have times, and you're going to have you're going to have seasons, rather, that some of this stuff, even though it's a quote unquote non-negotiable, gets put to the back burner. But I want you to remember that taking care of yourself is really, honestly, truly the most important thing on here. Okay? Don't be afraid to ask for help. And I hope you're in a host agency, if you're listening to this and you already are a travel advisor, where you can reach out to someone if you do need some help, right? I was lucky that I didn't have any final payments or anything due that week while I was gone, but I do have people who I could have reached out to and said, hey, I need you to help me service this client because shit's hitting the fan down here, right? Okay, so your CEO challenge homework for this week is I want you to figure out your own CEO checklist, not someone else's. You can absolutely take my ideas and make them your own, but I want to know yours. Ask yourself, what 5 things would make the biggest difference if I did them every single week? Maybe it's follow up with 5 leads, post 4 times a week, reach out to 3 past clients, complete 1 supplier training, review your pipeline, create an email, track your revenue, clean up your systems, actually start using your turn. Whatever it is, figure those out, protect those things, schedule them in to your schedule, and honor them, because consistency beats intensity every single time. I'm going to keep saying it, friend. Consistency beats intensity every single time. So we got to figure out those things that we have to be consistent about, that we get to be consistent about, so that we can get the best results in our business, so we can spend less time and energy doing those things and have a bigger outcome. So today's episode helped you think a little more like the CEO of your travel business that you know that you are and you want to be. I'd love for you to share this with another advisor who could use the reminder that success isn't about doing everything. It's about consistently doing the right things. If you haven't already, I'd be so grateful if you leave a rating and review for Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust. It helps more travel advisors discover the show and helps me continue to create free content each week to help you grow a profitable, sustainable business you truly love. If you haven't taken my quiz yet, head over to lindsaydollinger.com/quiz. It will help you figure out your kind of like your lead generation machine, the best way possible for you to create and get leads, get some new clients in your business. And then it will help you then create this non-negotiable checklist as well. So until next time, keep serving your clients well, keep showing up consistently, and remember, your travel business deserves a CEO, not someone who is just constantly busy. Go out there, create and own your magic. I'll talk to you next week.